Forging IT security experts. Secure Ninja.
Hey everyone, I'm Alicia Webb with SecureNinjaTV, and I'm here at Ceasars Palace kicking off Blackhat 2013 in Las Vegas. My first interview will be with Chris Hadnagy. He is the Chief Human Hacker of Social Engineer Incorporated. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely. We are so excited to talk to you because you've got so much going on at Blackhat and DEF CON this year. But let's start out with, why don't you tell me what exactly is social engineering?
We define it as any act that influences a person to take an action that may or may not be in their best interest. We keep it broad because in our company we feel that social engineering, it could encompass many things. The way parents deal with children, children deal with parents, you deal with your therapists, priests, teachers, as well as how malicious hackers deal with their targets.
Absolutely. Now, how does social engineering play a role in cybersecurity?
Well, humans run companies, so each and every day they have to interact with other humans, whether it's through email, phone, or in person. And because of that, attackers know that this is the easiest vector into a company. So what we have seen over the last 18 months with all the hacktivist groups is each one of them are using social engineering more and more as a part or a start of their attacks against these corporations.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an example of one of these engineering attempts?
Sure. So last year, under a year ago, there was a group called Nazi. Their lead social engineer, his name was Cosmo, and they doxed a company called WHMCS. They make online accounting and billing software. And when they created the docs, they found that the database administrator used social media a lot. So they built a profile on him. Then they called the I lost my password toll-free number, answered the security questions for the database administrator, reset the password, and then logged in, downloaded 1.1 gigs of credit card numbers, and then erased all of their servers for fun.
Wow.
And all of that was done with one phone call and a dox.
Right.
So, yeah, pretty dangerous, and we see that constantly throughout all these attacks, that social engineering is being used more and more.
Right, so it's effective.
Yeah.
Now, what do you have going on here at Blackhat?
Well, we had a class, 4-day class. We take our normal 5-day class and we bring it down to 4 days for Blackhat. We had a great group of students this year. We added some new things that weren't here last year, which was really exciting for us. Like we had live engagements on Friday. We took all the students out to the forum shops, and we picked targets for them. And then my team and I, we stood in the background and we took pictures of them interacting with complete strangers, getting their name and date of birth and other types of information.
And they were able to do that?
Oh, everyone was very successful all week.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds like a good exercise. So the class went well. People liked it.
Went excellent. We had some really nice reviews, and hopefully we'll be back next year to do this again. Yeah.
Great. What kind of things did you go over?
So we start the course with something called the DISC profiling, which is how I communicate with the world, and every person does their own profile to figure out how they communicate. Then we move to rapport building. We talk about influence and manipulation, framing, elicitation, and then we cover the whole day and a half is on nonverbal communications, or facial expressions and body language, and how that is used to either influence people or how you can notice other people trying to influence you with it.
Right, and you're a pro at this this body language stuff. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
Can you give me some examples of the most common, like, telling signs or stuff you went over in your course?
Sure. So there's a few that we always look for. We tell our students to look for. Some would be like facial anxiety. When you ask someone a question and they do something like this, they call that lip pursing or lip puckering, and that usually means I have something I want to say, but I'm not sure I really want to say it. And there's something in there I'm not sure if it needs to come out. Or you see high confidence displays. People sit like this. This is called steepling, and people feel fingers and thumbs are very high confidence. So we see usually. Napoleon, he always had his hand in his jacket and his thumb out. You see executives with their thumbs out in their lapels. Thumbs are very high confidence.
Okay.
When you see people standing like this, they're usually very confident in what they're doing or saying. Some of the other things we look for in class is when someone approaches someone too strong, you'll see them kind of reel back a little bit. It means, hey, I came on too strong to you. I'm not supposed to approach you this way.
Right.
Always look for body angle, like where your knees are facing and how your body is facing shows the interest that you have in the person you're speaking to.
Right.
I can just go on for hours, so there's just so many.
Like if we crossed our legs toward each other.
Yeah, so this, like your knee is facing me and your open posture would mean that we're getting along, we have rapport,
Right.
we have interest here. Now if you were to face the other way, it would be I'm done with you. Yep, I'm no longer interested in this interview.
Yeah, right?
So that would, don't do that yet.
Well, interesting. Definitely still interested in this interview. So what are one or two of the more like obscure tells that most people aren't aware of that really give you a lot of information?
For guys, one is when they get stressed or uncomfortable, they do this a lot. Or you'll see them mess with their tie or their
Guys
neckline.
do that,
They do that, and that's a very high discomfort display. So when I'm engaging with somebody and I notice that they start to do that, that means either I'm making them uncomfortable or the question's making them uncomfortable or some thought that we interjected is making them uncomfortable. So you can either use that if that's your goal, or you can back up and try to change that. Another one is facial expressions. This is probably my favorite area. I've been working with Dr. Paul Ekman for a few years on taking his courses and understanding facial expressions from his research. And facial expressions are muscular movements from emotional triggers. So the reverse happens too, that if we make the facial expression, we can create the emotion in the person. So this can be used to influence others, like showing sadness. Signs of sadness can create empathy for me in you. So I can influence your emotional content based on how I display myself.
Interesting. So if I smile, it makes you happy?
Exactly,
kind of?
It does. So our brains are wired to mirror what we see.
Right.
That's why you can walk past a restaurant, not be inside, and you see a group of people smiling, and you just start smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Right? You hear people laughing, and it makes you laugh. Or you walk in a room and everyone's angry, and you feel tension. You feel tense. We're wired to mirror each other's emotions. So there's a lot of studies that were recently done on that talk about how we do that.
So when you walk into a room and you feel tension, it's really from your visual cues picking up on people's faces?
That, and also if you hear things like if it's auditory, you can also hear the tone of voice, the way people are. And there's just a whole difference in body language. When someone's angry, everything gets tense, right? And you can kind of see this. It's the way their posture is. When we're relaxed, we're kind of like here now, we're having a chat and there's no tension at all.
Right, absolutely. Neat.
Besides nervous tension,
Yeah, I mean when cameras are rolling.
Yeah, just like that.
Now you are also an author. You have one book out, which is the
Social Engineering, the Art of Human Hacking.
Social Engineering, the Art of Human
I have a problem
Hacking.
remembering, so it's okay. That's why I have Michelle.
And you've got another one.
I do. This is big because I haven't talked about this anywhere yet. So I have a secondary book that's about this topic. It's called Unmasking the Social Engineer, the Human Element of Security. And it's all about the research that's been done over the last 40 or plus years in nonverbal communications, facial expressions, and body language, and how it's used by social engineers and how we can use it from the non-malicious side to influence others and to understand how these attacks work from a nonverbal perspective. So that's coming out in February.
Excellent.
A little bit of ways off, but
well, that's okay. We'll wait patiently.
Thank you.
And where will that be available?
So Wiley's the publisher for that. So right now it's actually on Amazon, if you can believe that already. They have the book for sale, and it will be on most major bookstores and most major online bookstores like the other one.
That's
and hopefully
exciting.
Here at Black Hat and DEF CON when it comes out.
Next year, definitely. DEF CON, speaking of, that's coming up sooner than later.
Yes.
What do you guys have going on over there?
A lot. So this year's our first year ever. DEF CON gave us the Social Engineer Village. So instead of just having a room for the CTF, we now have a room where we're running a social engineering event. So we have the CTF, the SECTF, which is our event for adults where we give them targets, they do information gathering, and then phone calls in a glass booth. Everyone gets to watch and hear. That's been around for 5 years. We're really happy with that event. This year we have a kids CTF. This is our third year doing that, and we handed the job over to Michelle. She works with me in Social Engineer Incorporated, and she came up with torturous puzzles, ciphers, and exercises for these poor kids to go through. And we got a special surprise for them. So we bought two Nerf sniper rifles, and we have two ex-military snipers that will be positioned in the room, real snipers, and they'll be sniping these children. Sounds so terrible to say on camera, probably. We're going to be sniping these children while they're doing certain parts of the event, and if they get shot, they have to start over.
Okay.
It was interesting because I tweeted, are there any good snipers out there? I need you for the SECTF for kids. Email me. That was the only thing I said in the tweet. So I had all these people Okay, first of all, why do you need snipers for a kid's
Right.
CTF? And that, of course,
they'll love
created
that.
some buzz. Yeah, but besides that, we have a number of speeches. Jordan Harbinger from The Art of Charm is talking about a LinkedIn social engineering hack that he did. David Kennedy's talking about the social engineer toolkit. Kevin Mitnick is doing a book signing as well as a speech on Ghost in the Wires. And then Sunday, we have a huge event. We do our live podcast there. But Apollo Robbins, the gentleman thief, he's famous for pickpocketing, and he runs the Discovery Channel show called Brain Games.
Right.
He's coming in to DEF CON, and he's going to do a Q&A on the psychology behind pickpocketing and maybe do a little demo for us too.
Interesting.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that'll definitely be cool.
So that's all of that is happening in our new social engineering village at DEF CON, so we're pretty excited.
So if a person were to just come by the social engineering village, what could they kind of get involved in?
So since this is our first year, right now the CTF is already all scheduled. You can get involved in just listening to the calls. The speeches will have a lot of interaction with Q&A, and then of course the podcast. I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate. Every year we get packed out and we have to lock the doors. So we're telling people that if there's part of the event you want to see, get there early. We put a schedule on the social-engineer.org site. So we put a schedule up there for what's happening, what speeches and what times, and we tell people get there early. We only have like 400 and something seats, so once they're gone, we have to lock it up.
Yeah, it's a popular village.
It is, yes.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely stop by
Thank you.
and
That'd
we'll
be
get
great.
some footage of everything that's going
Awesome.
on. Okay, but wait, there is one more thing I want to ask before you go. Now, all this social engineering stuff is so fascinating and great skills for anyone to know, but how exactly does it play into cybersecurity and a company actually using this stuff to protect themselves?
That's actually a really good question. So we believe in, it's not just our belief, it's proven through what's happened over the last 2 years. Social engineering is the biggest threat to companies today, both from the insider threat and from outside attacks. Yet we're not focusing on it because we can throw tools and software at physical problems. You can put antivirus to fix your virus issues. You can put IDS and IPS systems. You can put malware detectors. But there's no appliance that plugs in that says, oh, you're being social engineered.
Right.
So it's very difficult for companies to say, well, here's how we fix this problem. And because of that, companies tend to ignore it. So this is a vital conversation to have for major companies, any company really, because it is the easiest vector into your network and into your people and into your data. So to protect it, we have to talk about it. The demos at this SECTF show that even novice people who've never been on the phone can get amazing amounts of information with just one phone call. So we hope that the goal is to bring awareness to how dangerous this is and how people can fix it.
Right, so if the employees were more aware of social engineers out there, they'd be less likely to fall into their traps.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me on. It was great.
It's definitely interesting. We'll have to follow up in the future, and we'll
fun.
definitely come by DEF CON and get some footage of
Excellent.
Social Engineer Village.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you stay up to date with everything Secure Ninja is doing here at Blackhat and at DEF CON. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, connect on LinkedIn, or even on Google+. So make those connections, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Alicia Webb.
Secure Ninja Shorts are brought to you by SecureNinja.com, a world leader in information security and IT training and certification. Our master instructors will help build you into a highly skilled and marketable security professional. SecureNinja.com, forging IT security experts.